are going to be watching a video where a woman explains how she pays $950 a month for a used Jeep with a 25% interest rate. I know, it's real crazy. We're going to get into what went wrong and what went right and how it all could have been better. In the second segment of today's show, I'm going to be sharing a personal story about, I don't know, I guess you'll have to find out. And in the third segment of today's show, it looks like Carmelo Anthony's dad said some disturbing things on TikTok. And when I tell you he made the wrong move, he sure did. We're going to get into all of that. I'm Tamera. You're watching the Tamera Nealy Show. I would like to welcome back all my returning subscribers. And if you're new here, I would like to let you know I'm happy you're here. All right, y'all. So I hope everybody had a great weekend. It's summer, so I hope you are enjoying the sun this summer and really getting out and, you know, maybe even going swimming and doing all those fun things. We've got a packed show today. So before we get into it, I quickly want to say a word of prayer just to start the show off right, because God comes first. And that's the thing, is there's so much going on in today's world. And I think the reason why our society is so off course is because people aren't taking time to pray about everything. And so let's take a moment to pray about everything. Let's pray about this. Okay. Thank you for being you, Lord. Thank you for showing up in my life each and every day and showing up in the listeners' lives. Lord, I just pray that you help us to live our lives to the fullest, Lord. Thank you that you've given us all the tools we need in order to make the best decisions and move forward in the correct ways, Lord. You want us to live an abundant life. So, Lord, help us to make sure we're putting you first and serving others in love and making sure that we are going after it, what it is you want us to go after. We bring everything to you today, including every single topic we're going to cover today. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you, Jesus. He's so good. All right. So, before we get to the first segment of today's show, I want to talk about a trending topic just really quickly. I have this show all planned out, and then this came up, and I was like, you know what? We're going to talk about it. So, did y'all hear that Simone Biles slammed Riley Gaines for protecting women's sports against biological men? I'm seeing this trend going on too much. You got Nene Leakes of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, former star of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, accepting a transgender man or woman, whatever you want to call it, telling her that it is a flex, it is a compliment when a trans tells you that you look like a trans. So that was last week with Nene Leakes. And then now I see that Simone Biles, another woman who happens to be a black woman, is also encouraging men to take over a woman's space. Why is this happening? Because at the end of the day, men are not women. So the fact that you got these women out here praising a man, you got women out here celebrating men taking over women's spaces is very concerning to me. I want y'all to watch this clip of Riley Gaines, but before we get into that clip, let me show you what's been going down on X between Simone Biles and Riley Gaines. So it looks like this Minnesota State High School League had won a state championship, and it looks like they're young girls, looks like they're in high school, and Riley Gaines had commented, and she said, "Comments off, LOL, to be expected when your star player is a boy." Okay, so she had said that, and then Simone Biles decided to chime in, and she says, "You're truly sick. All of this campaigning because you lost a race? Straight up sore loser. You should be uplifting the trans community and perhaps finding a way to make sports inclusive or creating a new venue where trans feel safe in sports. Maybe transgender category in all sports. But instead, you bully them. One thing's for sure is no one in sports is safe with you around. Now, I don't know what's going on with Simone Biles, the way that she's coming for Riley Gaines like this, but that was unnecessary. That's not even cute. So after that, it looks like Riley Gaines comments and she says, "This is actually so disappointing. It's not my job or the job of any woman to figure out how to include men in our spaces." Come on, Riley Gaines. Claps. Somebody go ahead and give it up for Riley Gaines, because that was the right move right there. She says, "You can uplift men stealing championships in women's sport with your platform," which was a good clapback. Riley Gaines is a champion for protecting women's sports. She had to compete against a man. And you can watch one of her speeches on my page. And also, Riley Gaines has even given this show a shout out.
Hey guys, thank you for watching. I hope you share this far and wide. The Tamera Nealy Show. She's the best. She's just as amazing in person as she is, what you guys are seeing on her page. So thank you for watching.
So Riley Gaines is really about protecting women. And that's not just in sports. She travels the whole country encouraging women, inspiring them to get involved, to make sure that their voices are being heard. To me, she is a great example of what a woman is. But let's go ahead and watch this video of Riley Gaines where she goes ahead and kind of respond to Simone Biles, and she'll hopefully explain more. I just want to take a couple minutes to do this, and then let's go ahead and get into the next segment of today's show. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe.
Biles, the Olympic gymnast, the best of the best, bar none. There is no one else even remotely in her league in women's gymnastics. I guess in an attempt to be inclusive and virtuous, decided to sell out all women and girls who have dreams to achieve and to succeed, and to specifically personally attack and body shame me. She tweeted this out of the blue, like this came out of nowhere, and she said, "Riley, me, you're truly sick, all of this campaigning because you lost a race." First of all, if she's insinuating I lost to a man, I've lost several races in my career, that's part of being an athlete. But if she's saying I lost to a man, that's factually incorrect. We tied, besides the point. Straight up sore loser. You should be uplifting the trans community and perhaps finding a way to make sports inclusive or creating a new avenue where trans feel safe in sports. Look.
First of all, do y'all see how classy Riley is? I just love this clap back. Way to go, Riley.
Get something straight. It's my job. It's the women's job. This is what Simone Biles is saying. It's the women's job to find a way for the men's feelings to be validated, for their identity to be affirmed. That's not my job, actually, at all. So to say I should be doing this is insane. If she wants to use her platform to uplift men and women's sports, then by all means, but it's certainly not my job, and I don't believe it's the job of any woman to do this. She goes on to say, "But instead you bully them. One thing's for sure, no one in sports is safe with you around." I can't even make sense of that last part, actually. Then, out of the blue, she tweeted...
I don't know what's going on with Simone Biles. I don't know, she has always been such a decorated athlete, very sweet, kind, for the most part. But it's just like every time she decides to get into politics, she says something that she don't even know she doesn't know what she's talking about. We've seen her make comments over the years, especially as of recently, where she just chiming in on stuff that she needs to just stay focused on. It's just like, I don't even understand it. So Simone Biles, if men were able to compete in your sport, and, obviously gymnastics is a little bit different, so maybe that's not the case, but I don't understand why Simone Biles is so dedicated to defending men in women's sports. Men already have their category, so they can compete in their category. They don't need to be competing with the women. Because let's be honest, men and women are built differently. They are stronger than us. They're faster than us. We are the weaker vessel. That's just the reality of the situation. So why would we want to put ourselves at a disadvantage, Simone Biles? I just want to know.
This. Bully someone your own size, which would ironically be a male, which is hilarious, really for two reasons. Number one, she's acknowledging there are differences, like physiological, biological differences between men and women in saying this. Secondly, I'm 5'5", which might seem like a giant to someone who's like 4'7", 4'8", but I'm pretty standard size for a woman.
Exactly. And I'm going to make sure I insert a picture of me and Riley Gaines. Like she looks like a woman. She is a woman. I think that's very disrespectful for Simone Biles to even say something so disrespectful about another woman. It just goes to show that Simone Biles does not care about women. She isn't about supporting women, which is so weird. Because it's just like her out of all people should be very, women, pro-woman. So it's just like, what?
That's like relatively muscular, right? Being an athlete, I would imagine Simone would understand that. But I weigh like 135 pounds, 5'5".
Literally. That's why I had made this comment. When I first saw this, I was like, I have a picture of me and Riley Gaines standing next to each other. We're literally about the same weight. I'm a little bit taller than her. She's 5'5" and I'm like 5'6.5". So it's like, that's just so weird. I just don't understand what is wrong with Simone right now? Like, girl, wake up. I know you're famous now and you've got all this money, you've got all this fame. Your Netflix series came out, which was great. I'm proud of you. Good job. Way to go. But I'm just saying you need to really kind of rethink some things because you are the most decorated athlete in America. So when you're attacking other women like this, it makes you look bad.
Pretty much pure muscle. And again, if anyone would understand that, you would think it's Simone Biles, a woman who has historically been scrutinized for having a very muscular, masculine-looking body.
Exactly.
To the point she did this whole body positivity campaign. Then she has the nerve to say that I look like a man. And not to mention, this
doesn't make
is a woman who
sense.
has been incredibly brave in calling out and witnessing the horrific sexual abuse that she and hundreds of other female gymnasts faced at the hands of one sexual predator, that predator being Larry Nassar. In the same breath, believing that vulnerable women should be forced to strip down naked in front of men in locker rooms so long as it makes the man feel happy. If Larry Nassar came out as trans, would Simone think it's responsible or safe for him to be housed in a women's prison? To be very, very clear, I could care less what Simone Biles says about me. I'm a very secure person. I know I'm on the right side of history. I'm married, so if she wants to say I look like a man, I literally could care less. The most heartbreaking part about this, for me, is the platform that she has and the amount of young girls who look up to her. That she just, in a blink of an eye, sold out to appear to be virtuous. Mm-hmm. What we saw from Simone is the definition of pulling up the ladder behind you. Something people like Megan Rapinoe have also done. I have a feeling that if Simone's inclusive dream came true, she would have 0 Olympic medals and no one would even know who she is. So, if she wants to advocate for men and women's sports, by all means, it's America. You get to do that. I get to call you stupid for it, but you get to do that. Maybe in the 28 Olympics, she can compete and palm a horse in the rings. But I am going to keep standing up for women and girls, which is just about the least controversial take on the entire planet.
Riley, keep doing what you're doing. Don't even worry about Simone Biles. You're doing a great job. I'm glad you're speaking about this because I see other women who are starting to stand up and say, okay, this trans movement has gone too far. You have trans men or trans women. I don't know what to call them because it's like, okay, anyways, you know what I'm talking about. You have people who are part of the trans community who are biological men who are dominating women's spaces, and they are basically pushing women to the side and saying, you know what, we're the standard now. And that's the thing is that's never going to be fully accepted, but we can allow it to be socially normal. Because it's not normal. So, as I said, Riley Gaines, keep up the great work. Simone Biles, you really need to just step back on this one. Take the L You're going to get more W's hopefully down the line, but this one, sis, just take the L and learn from it, because you are the most decorated athlete in this country and you need to set a better example. Anyways, next segment. Okay, before we get started in this video, I quickly want to shout out one of my subscribers. Shout out to Vapor Valley 65. You left this comment on my EBT video, and I was like, we need to share this because it's so relevant for what we're about to talk about. Vapor Valley 65 says, Tamera, people these days don't understand the difference between a need and a want. To them, everything is a need. The reality is that needs only consist of housing, food, water, and clothing. All the rest are luxury items. That phone, vehicle, hairstyle, nails, fancy clothes, etc., they all are wants, and you will still live without having them. And that's so true. I wanted to share that with y'all because I'm like, that's literally what we're about to talk about, is the difference between needs and wants. This woman wanted this luxury car, but I said luxury car. It's not luxury at all. This is a Jeep. This is a used 2021 Jeep. Okay? A Grand Cherokee Jeep. So it is not a need by any means, and it's definitely not luxury.
2024, I financed a 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee. My APR was a 25%. The truck costed about $35,000, and my car note was $950. But when I initially got ready to finance, it was $1,025 or $1,050. But he told me he was able to give me a deal, and he dropped it down to $950.
Oh my gosh, man. So here's the first thing. When you end up taking a high payment, like a super high payment like that, you have to understand that that equals more profit for the dealership through interest, add-ons, and also dealership financing kickbacks. So when you go into the dealership, first off, you may want to take somebody with you. Maybe that's taking a man with you. Maybe that's taking somebody who has some car experience, or, I don't know, but it sounds like she went by herself, or maybe she went with somebody who was inexperienced and got herself in a bad situation. So that's the first thing I want to know.
But he also said I can come back in 3 months, and if I pay my car note on time, which was the $950 for 3 or 4 months, I can come back and refinance. Now,
Ma'am, that was a tactic. Salespeople are very experienced, okay? They know when they see a prey. They are hunters. I'm telling you, when you go to the car dealership, I'm telling you, these people are like vultures, ready to see who they gonna get. Who are they gonna eat first? And then they're ready for who they gonna eat second, third, and fourth. I literally went to the car dealership last weekend. I pull up. There were 6 people who surrounded my car, 6 dealers who surrounded my car, ready to make their money. So these people are going to use tactics, and ma'am, that was a tactic. When he said that you could come back later and refinance, that's because he wanted to get that sale and get that money.
I never heard of anything like that, but I went on and took his word because I needed a vehicle. Now, when I first walked in the dealership, I wasn't trying to buy a vehicle. I just wanted to, drive one around and just get the feel of a new vehicle. But I ended up leaving a lot with one.
And that's why you got to know what you're going in there for. And something that I've learned just from learning, from people with experience in the car industry and things like that, you want to make sure you never tell them, you want to make sure you don't sign anything. If you say you're just browsing, make sure you remember that you're just browsing and you're just looking. They're going to try to sell you a car because that's their job. And that's why you've got to understand your why, know your action beforehand, and stay focused on that action. Because as this woman said, when she first walked in, she wasn't planning on buying a car. But because she kept going and going, next thing you know, she bought a car. And she made a very bad decision. A $950 car payment is out of this world. That is crazy. And the 25% interest rate. We gonna get into that later.
Time I had just paid off my credit card, and my credit score was about a 6 something, so it still was low. So I should have waited. So that was on me. I'm gonna take that L.
Just so you know, a higher credit score equals lower interest rates and also better loan financing terms. So you want to make sure you have the highest credit score possible before you even go into the car lot. So that's why she's saying that.
It was like a 28th edition or something like that. I kept it for about a month.
Let's replay that part.
So I should have waited. So that was on me. I'm going to take that L. When I say I love the vehicle, it was like a 28th edition or something like that.
That's the problem with these people out here. You shouldn't be falling in love with a car. It is a car. At the end of the day, a car is to get you from point A to point B. It is not for you to be doing all this extra stuff. Oh, I got to have this. I got to have that. Sure, if it's in your budget, then that's one thing. But it doesn't seem like this lady was actually set up to be able to go in there and sign up for a $950 car payment, $50 car payment. But it looks like she's talking about this story so just like it's nothing. And that's the thing is so many Americans get online and they complain about how they don't have money for groceries, or they don't have money for this, they don't have money for that. And it's just like, is it that you don't have money, or is it that you've been spending your money in the wrong way? Let's have a real conversation about it. Because that's the thing is now the internet is so advanced, you could go look up questions about what to ask before you go into a situation like this. But the reason why people end up in situations like the situation she's in is because they love something so much, a material thing like a car. You shouldn't be loving no car. It is a car.
I kept it for about a month. In the second week, I was like, I can't afford these. Like, I had to pay $400 to even get my insurance on a vehicle, and then it was like, it was going to be $256 a month. So for my...
Before you even sign the dotted line for a car, you need to call the insurance company and say, hey, how much will the car insurance be per month? Then ask yourself, can I afford that? And that's the thing is when you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, when you're trying to live a social media lifestyle, some people end up in a situation like this because they see people online having the nice cars and they see people online doing this and that. But the truth is you don't even understand what that person is doing to get those things. The average American is paying $700 for a car payment, which I think is insane. Some of y'all need to be driving a Humpty Dumpty, and that's fine. Yeah, it may break down here and there, but it's getting you from point A to point B so that you can be able to save up for what you want. And that's how we're going to be able to get this national debt down. But that's a whole nother conversation that y'all ain't wanting to have. Not y'all, because y'all are perfect I'm talking about people who are watching a whole nother show. You have those same people complaining about how they can't afford stuff, but they're spending their money in the wrong way.
Car note and my insurance, that would have been $1,200 a month. I really should have followed my first thoughts and went to the lady I was going to go to before, but I was too impatient. I just needed a vehicle. So I still ended up getting another vehicle that same within like a month. And this the vehicle I got now. So my APR is 16%.
The problem with that is you end up paying thousands. You could end up paying thousands of dollars more in interest, even if the monthly payment is manageable, which I don't think $669 or however much she said for the monthly payment is still very high. So that's the thing is really you need to be realistic about what you can afford. Ma'am, I'm sorry, you cannot afford this Jeep. And I wrote down some numbers for just so we could put it in perspective of how much money she would have been paying if she decided to keep that former Jeep that she had. 25% APR means roughly 25% of the loan amount in interest per year. So just to be clear, on a $35,000 loan, that's about $8,750 in interest per year. And that's a simple estimate. So therefore, we've got to be realistic about this and have conversations, because you want to have more money. That's the thing, is people say they want to have more money and they think, oh, that's about making more money. I got to make more money to have more money. Yeah, that could be true. Yes, making more money will give you more money. But if you're spending all the money that you're making, you're not going to have more money. And that's the thing, is you want to make sure that you understand also that the borrower is a slave to the lender. So when you are going to these car lots, when you are deciding to take out these loans and things like that, just know that you are now a slave to the lender. So that, if you understand that, that'll help you kind of pull back and say, should I really get myself in this situation? Just to also put it in perspective, over 5 years, she could pay $40,000 in interest, meaning more than double of the car's price in total. So she's now at 16% interest, which I could do the math on that later, but we don't have time because we got to get to the next segment. But you get the picture here. This was a bad financial decision, but to be honest, this is not an uncommon story. Many Americans are falling into this same trap. So y'all, hopefully somebody's taking some notes. Just do a little bit more research before you end up in a situation like this.
My car note is $699, $39 a month. And when I got it, it was like 26 or 28,000, but I added Gap and all that other stuff, so it ended up being like $31,000. And I know the APR was still high. I get it. I know. I'm going to try to pay it off as early as I can. And I'm going to try to make 2 payments a month and then pay like an extra $100 or whatever on it. And y'all, when I say I really want to pay this truck off now, because this is my 10th vehicle. This is not the 10th vehicle I done had in my name. This is probably the 4th vehicle I had in my name, because that other truck that I just let get repoed was in my name. So I done had...
See, America is so unserious. This is so unserious. She got the bonnet on. She's got, these problems going on. No accountability. And this is why Black women need a man. A lot of y'all need somebody to make sure that you are actually on the right path, which you should already be doing that without anybody. But some of y'all need men more than you realize. I'm just saying. So that is just a hot mess. An absolute hot mess. She's had 4 cars. She's got a repossession. She's got this going on. And she already came from a bad situation where she had a car with the 25% interest rate. And she was paying $950 a month for the car payment. Ma'am, this is unacceptable.
Bad experiences with vehicles. And I paid one off and I bought maybe 2 cash cars. But yeah, y'all, make sure y'all credit straight. Make sure y'all got a good person that's financing your vehicle. But number one, make sure your credit straight before you try to get a vehicle, because that's why I messed up it. I was impatient. I need a vehicle. I just took...
You should have been more patient. That's another one. And then also choose a vehicle that you can actually afford. Because to be honest, this woman knew she could not afford it.
My ear, and I said I'm going to pay it. So hopefully I can pay this off within the next 3 years. Because I ain't trying to pay no $60K for this vehicle.
Here's a moral of the story. The borrower is a slave to the lender. So make sure that you understand that before you end up in a situation like this. Save your money and then pay for your car in cash if you can. I know that that's not the common thing to do, but that's the most responsible thing to do. And I'm telling you, you'll feel peace, because that's the thing, is discipline comes with peace. It does. And so when you save up that money and you sacrifice eating out so you can actually afford your car, I promise you're going to feel much better about it. And also, don't love material things. At the end of the day, that stuff comes and goes. In 2021, that Jeep Cherokee, Grand Cherokee, that was the hottest thing walking for the Jeep community. But now it's 2026 and 2025 and nobody cares about it. So that's the thing, is these things come and go. Don't find your value and your worth in material possessions, but love your family, make good choices, and make sure that you actually are doing the right things for yourself and others, because now that she's paying that $700 car payment, I bet she's less likely to be able to help her family, lend a helping hand to the community, because she's probably more than likely stressed out about paying that car payment. So look at the benefits of actually paying a car in cash. I know maybe you won't have the luxury of, you may not have the luxury of feeling all like you're just so on top of the world and you keeping up with this person and that person. But at the end of the day, it gives you more flexibility so you can have the means to get what you need and the experiences that you want. So anyways, this should be a learning lesson. Send this to her or send this to somebody that you know needs to hear it. Let's go to the next segment. All right, y'all. So in this segment of today's show, I wanted to kind of share a personal story with you. Before I do, I wanted to talk about something. Last week, I was in a space where I was kind of like, I don't have any content. I don't have any content and I don't know what I want to talk about. And it's just so confusing. And I'm just like searching TikTok. I was searching TikTok last week and, searching for hours, looking for content, going on YouTube, looking for content and all this stuff. And it's like, I didn't have any content. And I was just like in a place last week where I was like, what am I even doing? I have no content to cover because right now the case is not really, there's not as many updates. And so I've got to diversify my content, which I've been trying to do and this and that. And so it dawned on me yesterday, this is the Tamera Nealy show. Like, share personal stories. Like, this is what the show is about. And so today I want to share a personal story with you in this segment. As you guys may have noticed, I'm wearing my natural hair, today, which I always usually wear my natural hair on the show, but I usually don't wear it like this. I don't wear like like curly all around like this. And so I'm doing that today. And so I decided I wanted to share why I believe that every girl should learn how to style her natural hair. It really gave me so much confidence when I learned how to style my natural hair. I remember I was going to a stylist for many years. I had been going to a stylist for many years, and I noticed that my hair was at a plateau. It wasn't growing, or it was growing, but she kept having to trim it. It was damaged. It was just not in a good space. I'll try to find some pictures. And so my hair was like really unhealthy, and I had never seen it this unhealthy in my life, and it just looked basically dead. And if you know about hair, you understand that hair is a living thing. Like, you have to take care of it. You've got to nurture it. You got to put water in it. It needs food. It needs all the stuff, just like a plant needs it. And so at the time, I didn't really know how to take care of my hair. So I go to the stylist and I'm like, hey, I noticed that my hair is not growing as long as I want it to. And I want my hair to be down my back at that time. And this was probably a year and a half ago or something like that, or maybe a year ago, somewhere around there. And so, like I said, I'll try and find pictures. And so she's like, you don't need to know how to do your hair. Just keep coming to me. And I'm like, hey, hold up. Because no, ma'am. And so when somebody tells me something like that, saying that I don't need to know something, I just need to put my trust totally in them and I need to keep coming to them so they can keep making money, that empowered me to then say, I need to start doing my research. That's why knowledge is power. So nobody should be telling you that you need to totally rely on them to do your hair. And so many women go to the beautician, they put all their trust in the beautician, and they wonder why their hair is not doing well. And it's because they don't know how to take care of their hair. And everybody's hair is different. I have 3C hair. So I have to take care of my hair like I have to take care of my hair. You may have 4A hair. You may have 4B hair. You may have 3A hair. You may have 2A hair. I mean, some of y'all hair is straight. So but it don't matter what your hair looks like. It's important for you to know how to take care of your own hair. That's why I ended up getting this book. This book literally changed my life. It's called The Science of Black Hair. So obviously, I have coarser hair. So this book is for me. Maybe you have straight hair. There are books out there that you could look at and learn from and learn about your hair if you don't know how to grow your hair. But a lot of Black women do not know how to grow their hair. And I'm telling you, this book will change your life. I can try and find some before and after pictures, but my hair is so much more healthier. It's fuller, it's happier because I read this book. And now I found a new stylist, and her and I have great conversations, and she's like, oh my gosh, you know so much about hair, but it's because I took the time to learn about it. And I remember when I first started this journey, somebody had told me, why would you read a book to learn about hair? And I'm just like, well, why do you read a book to learn about anything else? It's because books can give you knowledge that maybe somebody else may not be able to give you, or maybe it goes more in detail. And so I think it's important to read. And if you already like to read, like I do, then that's a great thing for you. So anyways, personal story, just wanted to share it. Maybe we could get more into it later on in another video, but I love my hair today. I'm really liking this style. It's summer and I'm super excited about embracing and enjoying my natural hair. So I hope you enjoyed this segment of today's show. Be sure to hit that like button, the subscribe button. We are nearing the end of today's show, but I want to give you an update on the Carmelo Anthony case and what he has going on. If you haven't heard about the case, watch my other videos on the case. I have plenty of videos. I don't want to get into a recap today because you know how, if you've been watching me cover this case, you know that how emotional that can be, and going full on into it, it's a lot. And so today I'm keeping the show more lighthearted. And so if you want a recap on what happened with Austin Metcalf, which is the victim in the case, and why suspect Carmelo Anthony is in the situation he is, be sure to go check out the other videos. But I want to give you guys an update. Carmelo Anthony's dad went on TikTok and he said some disturbing things. And it was very revealing. So, but without further ado, let's go ahead and get into that. If you haven't been on TikTok before, TikTok has this live feature where people can join a live and they have a panel and they can conversate about whatever they want to talk about. There have been plenty of lives about Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony. I've even joined some lives. I mean, these lives go on for hours and people just talk about the case. And so Carmelo Anthony's dad decided to join a live. And this was a very bad decision on his behalf because the things that he said in this live are, one, very revealing, and also could be incriminating for him, in my opinion. And so it kind of lets you know what the mindset is of the Anthony family. Let's go ahead and listen to it.
I have a pocket poker on my
Okay, excuse me. Hey, excuse me, y'all. I'm not carrying one to high school.
Okay, well, Mike, I had one all through middle school, high school.
They are. They can own rifles at the age of 18 in Texas.
Hey, I'm Karmelo's dad. I just want to say something.
Keep in mind, this is the same Carmelo Anthony's dad who at the beginning of the case had the nerve to go on there and had the nerve to go on social media talking about his son has a 3.7 GPA and his son's a good kid and all of this, after his son, Carmelo Anthony, stabbed Austin Metcalf, an innocent young man, in the heart at a Frisco track meet for something that was so stupid, which was a seat in a school tent that Carmelo Anthony had no business being in because it was Austin Metcalf's school tent. We know how this situation is and how this case can be very intense. So like I said, go watch the other videos if you want to see a recap of it. But it just really upsets me that this dad had the nerve to get on here and say what he's about to say. It really upsets me. But let's keep going.
Hello? You guys hear me?
Yeah.
So, first thing, let's get something understood. He wasn't charged for carrying a knife. If y'all look at it, he was only charged for murder one.
Before I respond to that, do y'all see that there is a picture of, I wonder who this is, because I see the twins in this picture. I see Austin Metcalf and I see Hunter Metcalf in this picture. And then I see here Carmelo Anthony's dad. And so I'm wondering who is in this particular box. But anyways, Carmelo Anthony's dad just sat here and minimized the fact that Austin Metcalf was stabbed by his son in the heart and he lost his life. And he says that Carmelo Anthony was only charged with first-degree murder. Sir, what do you mean only? Please let me know what you mean when you say he was only charged with first-degree murder. Please let me know. But as I've said since the very beginning of this case, do not let these people get your blood pressure up. And I'm saying that to myself today because that was just unacceptable. But let's keep going.
Secondly, the same guy that just said about him taking his son to school to fight. So what about you take your son to school to fight and your son knock him out and kill him? Then what?
Why would you be taking your son to school to fight anyway? That doesn't even make sense. So you're telling me that you know that your son is about to get in a fight and you take him to that fight? To me, that just sounds like irresponsible parenting. Is that what you did in the Frisco track meet case situation? Did you take Carmelo Anthony to the track meet because you knew he was going to unalive someone? Take someone's life? Did you know that? Did you know that Carmelo Anthony was about to make that decision? Sir, you're looking very suspect right now.
Unalive. What do you do then?
I'm into your mic, Mike.
And these people have the nerve to say Carmelo for president, learn the law, no tent police, tent hero, innocent or guilty. What is wrong with him?
The same question.
What is wrong with these people?
What do you do then, sir?
What do you mean, what do I do? He was defending
You just said you would take your son to a school to fight. So if he hit him and that kid gets knocked out, and that's a one-on-one, this ain't two-on-one, he gets hit and he kills him. I mean, he hit him and hit his head on a rock. Unalive. Keep saying this. I'm not used to this, y'all. But I don't know why I jumped in on this tonight. But what do you do as a father? It's like we can't win. So
what is that supposed to mean? You teach your kid not to go to school and be violent. You teach your kid to walk away from an altercation. You teach your kid to de-escalate situations. You don't teach your kid to provoke situations and provoke fights. You don't teach your kid to bring a weapon to school where he could take another child's life and steal their future from them and their family. Sir, stop with the lying, stop with the mess, stop with the fake like you don't understand what's going on. You did not teach your kid the right way, and now your kid is in the situation, and it's becoming more and more clear what your parenting is really like.
You took your son to school, so you don't get accessory. Because you took him to school.
That actually happened. Carmelo's dad, that actually happened. I don't know, Mike, if you're familiar with the case by Kaylee Gaines. Her mother drove her to the school after she was suspended to fight a girl. Why would the mom drive her to school after she was suspended? They're saying that there was another case where a young girl was driven to school by her mother after she was suspended to fight somebody. Why would the parent bring them to school and do that? This is the type of parenting that's going on in the U.S. right now. And we wonder why kids are in the situation they are. It is because the parents are failing them time after time and time again. It's clear to me what happened in the Carmelo Anthony situation. His parents have enabled him to become who he is today. And Andrew Anthony, which is Carmelo Anthony's father, has the nerve to be on TV crying. Sir, don't say that crying. Because you weren't crying when your son brought that knife to school. You weren't crying when you were encouraging your son to fight people. You weren't crying when you were encouraging your son to quote unquote defend himself as if somebody was doing something to him. Your son is as weak as you, unfortunately. And that's on you. And she ended up in a coma.
Well,
she got slammed into concrete and got put in a coma for months.
And that's what it was.
For me,
Also, just another scenario.
I ain't gonna
know
lie.
somebody
That is a good point. I'm not gonna lie.
We can't. Hey, it's like this, honestly, and I'm gonna let y'all go. I appreciate y'all.
It is a shame that Carmelo Anthony's dad got on here and did this. But am I surprised? No, I'm not. I'm not surprised, because this is the type of parent that Carmelo Anthony was raised by. This is why Carmelo Anthony felt empowered to take someone else's life. And I hope that he pays the consequences for his actions to be an example to not only other students, but also to parents who decide to enable their child to make bad choices and choose violence. The Metcalf family cannot get their son back. Hunter Metcalf cannot get his brother back. Hunter Metcalf is currently spending his first summer without his twin brother, the other half of his heart. And Carmelo Anthony's father had some nerve to get on here and do that. As I said, I'm not going to let these people get my blood pressure up. And you should not either. They are working against themselves in this case. That's all I have to say about this. All right, y'all. Let's breathe. Because we ended on a crazy note. But let me breathe really quick. Thank you for joining the Tamera Nealy Show. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. This was the first time that we were able to hit so many segments in one show like this, where we were talking about different topics. And I want to know, do you all want more shows like this? I would like to cover as many topics as I can. And there's so much going on in the world, and I want to be able to add value and share my thoughts with you, and hopefully just, broaden the conversation. We're taking this show one step further, and we're going to the next level day by day. And I want to thank you all for being a part of this journey. This show has been, I can't even believe it. Just a month and a half ago, this show had 600 subscribers, and now we're almost at 6,000. This show is growing very quickly, and it's because of people like you. And so I want to thank you for your love and support. And I love you so much. I love you guys so much. It's so hard when the show comes to an end because I want to keep talking to you. But let's just carry the conversation on in the comment section. Thank you for joining. I love you guys, and you'll hear from me soon, okay?